And know that dealing with emotions for a lot of people is really hard. But to put it in perspective, think about how much money you might be spending, time and energy on trying to fix your physical problems. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go and get the massage, the osteo, physio, pelvic floor physio, any of those things, because they are really great. It is really important to find a practitioner who you resonate with and that you feel like you're getting results with. It definitely has value, and for us being in that position, we can often see a clearer path for you instead of you trying to navigate things on your own. So I say it's saving you money, because instead of seeing 5 or 10 different people, we can say, see this person for a few months, you might grow out of them, and then you need to shift to the next practitioner, but to be linked up with that ideal next practitioner. And if you don't know where to start, just start somewhere and the path will generally open up. Just feel free to ask us questions as well. But don't wait until you're in a lot of physical or mental health strife crisis. Try and start listening to all the little niggles that your body tells you, and that's what I share a lot of on my pages. So that's my summary of metaphysical. Don't be scared by the word. Mind, body, emotional, physical. But yeah, what do you guys have to say about that? Oh, Lisa's got to go.
Sorry, I'm going to have to run.
But you don't need to stay.
Okay, bye. We've got an interview clip.
I was just going to say, Jen made a really good point. It's important to get your symptoms checked early and not to ignore niggles. I think we're conditioned by the traditional medical model to wait until things get bad. Either because we don't want to bother our GP, we don't want to spend the money on or any therapist, or bother the therapist, or feel that we don't have time or deserve to have these things, or just, being weak, especially for men. They ignore symptoms because they don't want to be perceived as weak. So you get symptoms checked early, because it's way more easy to deal with if you deal with it early. The other thing to say, that mind-body link is a circular thing, in that, our emotions can create symptoms, but also our symptoms can create emotions. A classic example being patients with chronic pain that Jen and I have. It can create, understandably, a lot of anxiety and depression, and sometimes, we need to deal with those symptoms to be able to get into the so it's which approach we come to. That's why it's worth seeing someone who's really practiced with doing mind-body work, so they know whether to come at it from the mind approach, the body approach, or a bit of both. And that, that ratio is what is understood by someone who's really practiced in that. From my understanding of medical school, it's very much about masking symptoms with medications, operations, but as Jen and I know, and what we both do is if you think of any symptoms being like the warning light on your car dashboard, the conventional approach in both our industries is to just take that light bulb out by offering a cream, a therapy, an operation, whereas we both get under the bonnet of your car and find out why the light came on, and also look at the whole engine at the same time. And that's critical if you want long-term healing and fast healing.
Yeah, exactly. And the sooner you get onto it, the quicker it is to deal with.
Yeah.
And then to continue to look after yourself and create awareness around your situations and what your body is trying to tell you. And just to add to that, a lot of the time it is a fear of what are they going to find that stops people from going to get things checked out. Yeah. So obviously we are still all for conventional intervention because it is needed. But often your body will be giving you little signs. A lot of people, when they find out something's wrong, is they look back and they say, yeah, I knew, and actually this and that, and all the little niggles, they can put the picture together. And it's a hard lesson to learn when you get to that stage. But once you're at that crisis point, just be patient and be guided, but making sure that you're not just getting treatment week after week and being held in a holding pattern. You want to be able to get shifts and results.
Yeah, definitely an integrative approach is really key. So I always use a combination of conventional and complementary, as Jen does, and that's the best way. So there's a lot of integration with conventional and complementary, but also with mind and body, and looking at those 4 areas is key.
Hey, I've actually got a question for Tracy. I know this is something that's come up for a lot of people. She's not prepared. But can we talk about the cosmetic stuff that you do?
Yeah.
So Tracy is an integrative functional medicine doctor, really amazing at looking at the deeper issues. But she also does some cosmetic work, and I've got my own views on that from the emotional aspect. And I know you do too, but I just want you to communicate it a little bit more.
Yeah, so a lot of the cosmetic work I do is about dealing with things like migraines. I use Botox sometimes, and obviously always I'm looking at the underlying factors, so dealing with those first, getting the key things like nutrition, environment sorted first, and then but as I said earlier, sometimes you need to use these things to get them to a point where they can look at nutrition, they can look at lifestyle and stress management. So yeah, so I do use Botox for things like migraines and headaches. I also use it for sweating. So a classic example was I had a young guy in his 20s who had sweating of his palms, and he needed to be going for job interviews. And he was just too nervous to go for the job interviews because he was worried about shaking hands because of the sweaty palms.
Worse, doesn't it?
Yes, that's right. It made the sweating worse. And so we did Botox to his palm, just one hand, his right hand. And then because it wasn't sweating, he had the confidence, and that kind of broke the vicious cycle that he was at. So I use it for that too. And also I tend to see a lot of women who've gone through major life crises, like myself with divorce, and it can be a real confidence boost for me. But the really important thing for me is that I do it in a very natural, refreshing way, because there's certainly a lot of practitioners who are out there pumping way too much things in people's faces, whereas for me it's about having a very natural, tailored, individual, refreshing approach. The other thing, to be honest, I love being a artist. I love individually creating a refreshed look for people, but not turning them into somebody else. There's a lot of practitioners creating a whole load of women that look the same, and that's not my approach. So that's why I do cosmetic medicine. There's the other thing I use is dermostat, which is microneedling, and platelet-rich plasma therapy for scars. So it's acne scars. I use fillers for acne scars. So I had a guy who was really insecure about his previous acne scars, and we did some fillers in that, and that increases self-esteem. And increasing people's self-esteem can sometimes be a good way of helping them be able to target things like nutrition, environment, lifestyle. And then I had another young girl who had a lot of scars from self-harming, and so we did the microneedling and platelet-rich plasma on her, and her self-esteem just skyrocketed. It was just so rewarding. So that's for me why I do cosmetic surgery, not to change people, but to refresh and increase people's self-esteem, or deal with medical problems like sweating and excessive sweating and migraines.
That's really good. I've not heard you explain it like that, but hopefully that clarifies that it's not about changing people. And from the mind-body perspective is that I always say that your physical body reflects your emotional state. So all of those past experiences you've had, particularly the stressful ones, can show up in your body. So it's like someone going through divorce, it might be really drawn out, or death of a loved one, all sorts of stresses, is that often gets held in the face, and you notice people age really quickly. And then a lot of the time people do move through this and they want to continue living life, but then they're etched with all these scars from self-harm, but they have managed to turn their life around, but they've got this constant reminder. So why not take it away so that we're not constantly remembering why the way we used to feel, but to always deal with the emotions behind that situation, and not just to cover them up. I often ask women with breast implants, what is the reason you want to get breast implants, or tell me why did you get breast implants at that age? What was going on for you? And often it is a confidence thing. And when they have them, their posture's different, they look different. And subconsciously, we judge people on their posture, their appearance. And so we will perceive them differently as well. But what's always important is to acknowledge the emotions behind why you want to change something, and not just to sweep it under the carpet. And that's probably where people who are constantly like making their lips really massive or boobs out of proportion. It's like, what is that really, what's going on?
Well, I only work with people who are prepared to do the internal work as well. So a lot of the work I do is with acne patients, and I say, yes, we can put things on the outside, do treatments on the outside, but you need to do the internal work. And that's the same with everyone. So if I had someone who'd been recently divorced and came in wanting cosmetic work, then I'll always say to them that we need to do the internal work as well. Because that's where they're going to get the major self-esteem boost, not just by dealing with it externally. So and that's why I love my role as an integrative and a cosmetic doctor, is because I can advise them on how to do that internal work.
Cool. All right, we've been a lot longer than we thought we would, so hopefully you're still with us. And we look forward to maybe doing another one of these again, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye.